Okay, this is Sealaska director Clarence Jackson interpreting a legend. It's February 26, 2003. Is that right? 26?
Okay. Tsaagweidí uusjide atstaatu neinu jin uus yaautanne aya tutti Tlingit aya Jilḳáat atu khun ke achida janach sakhucht wa sakshia kawayat adea na khukhu kostuitu to washi kos tles ya kiktaya ashakawa chaktu ya go au siku shadihini at hastatwa siku yuko ya ha tatki kakat aja ya yukawa chak aya nasik kena siti aya yu dukhun ki ane ya kade ana siti aya guncha guk ataya gukha kawati ya yandakh tustin daya anyanakh du gukha kawati aka ayatsa kiat kawashi yo jahu ayash qatata kwas akhkiat kanashin yandakhaya kauti kan yute kuk kashu guncha kuk ataya ayan kukhaya duatki nistetak kaudu ajis aqayo duin kuik yawahi aqaya Haida kausika khajida kawajis adayo sikukhu at kunyaki ak iuti sakshea kukhte kunekukhta kukhiya wakha aya uja ay saktuin kudu ike aya au sitin yuna shate hanne tlak ayakat au tiqenyate kukate asik kukhaya kan kakit te awa khokh guktak kia kawuti aya aguknakh akawati yukuncha ye katunik at kahunaya stakatinakha te agutsa shaudu tlihiktu nandeyis Kajida kawa jeshi atya kaya kwas yiwuyat wana nisaya nanda at kawa na ya guncha kukat achid awati singit Tesla was ko tuji khase at tuduaji koskok ko sineyo ajiduaji ayak asea sau tu zitan ake kukhaya utuwa ik duin ko ik ya nakik aya huche ai yaki aya kochte ket ko khune aya tuin ko duwa ik aya yu atkha ish kasnik tuchin atay an us teach atay an us tanch tlaki a kuchta tlok kaya atkha istitwa oshko kaka uchiche kawakshik ujai sakwaya tu asik konea uchiche aya tutain atusik wana nisaya kandak kwasekhi aya kwasnai shata o aya staat kutachi sikia atkats kutukhand o kut aya shaw sikha tjaswek hat nach yukhikuti ikachtu chakhe Tses aus kuanach saya kachtu chak aya itu di shad kushtiach has khatu chake achjit has at awati guncha kukat khos an has khat ko chak yu aya ayu aya khatakadin ai khohane aya tukuk khakawati yukun khakukat kone ase khawa kaya ikuto akh yaudo atin yutuchitu do ati kun khakukat aqawa Ganda kokaudo kayo a Kishwase yu isane gekyo Chade uti kaktu chake Wekun khakuk ataya Tukao au sinech Nis kukhaya Shau tu hik tu ya kutu in so tu jirat kaudo jes Kles awus wanach saya Kaktu chak kawanach sej ahe uti Kuna kau sinik Do anik nasik Tu kau au sinik ya kuk atyo Tsaagweidí ayak takyaw duat yakaw duat tiya kukat yuna kahiti tukaw awus nekhitjaya dikike kaw duat ti kina kyo a tu akhaya chakuksa kuik Kake kawa khikya kukat Yan shokash khininawa Tu itianach dikike dut katutij Yut ayak Anach kaudut zikhu At taniyach Yut ayak Wana nisaya kodo was wanach sat Tlak kike kai tichwe Guk atyo Kakusti aus nechitjaya Kaya usike itianach Ajaya akach kodo asa kintinyo kintin ye ayaw dutliach kindikiat na dutini aya tak atyaw hihad itianach di Kake katutijut ayach as ye kaya atlak jaya kakakaseko ausne jaya kajik kasitsiniat kusitia kuncha shedihinik yete atkhututekash kasnik akhu ach shtuqada tishkasnik atusiyakh shtuqada ti kaqeqatututi aya ya atkhachani tlakia kauta troko ay atkhutushekh adek haji kasitsini ya atkha akhu ach qas ya tlakdiki ke kandutini khawsitsin ye aya ataha tuati ya hadane shakausnik haji kusti uti ya dekh koha hitataya ya ashat nakich Kake natin so ya haatku ako Sealaska wasa Tsaagweidí tuk yan katuanik ya yakha kintin atkhtusik ye kakpake ashkasnik long ago there was a man that decided to go on a trip to visit his friends in the Nass River from the Chilkat area. And he loaded up his boat with goods that he knew wasn't available in their country, down there by Prince Rupert. Portland Canal is a very long inlet, and it narrows to a small, narrow spot where the Tlingits lived. Perhaps in the migration after the glacier, the people settled there and stayed. But anyway, he loaded his canoe, maybe more than one, and maybe he had helpers. But they went down on a mission to visit the people and to distribute gifts to the friends. When he got close to the village, he put an abalone earring on his earlobe, and he began to sing a song as they were coming in front of the village. The people in the village came out and watched this man singing a song as he was coming in. They were attracted by a shiny object shining at his earlobe. Every time he turned and the sun would hit it, it reflected, perhaps like a diamond reflects in the sun. He landed. They greeted him, and they took all his belongings up into the tribal house, and they had a great party with him. In that party, he gave gifts to all the people that he brought from his country. And how many days he stayed or weeks, we don't know, but one day he announced that he wanted to head home again. And so they said, we're going to have a party before you leave. So they gathered the people and had a great party with him, a farewell party. And he noticed the head of the clan, one of them kept watching that earring he had. And so in the middle of the party, he called him out, and he took his earring off and he put it on the head man's ear. And the abalone earring was called in Tlingit Jilḳáat. Years maybe went by, and finally sometime that man wanted to go on a trip to his friends in the North Country. He loaded his canoe and he came up and he took his earring with him. And he had it in his pocket. How long he stayed up north, we don't know, but he didn't realize that some tragic thing happened and he was blamed for the cause of it. Perhaps somebody died down there from the north and they thought he did it. And unbeknownst to him, after the farewell party, he was going to die. And they said that at the farewell party they boiled salmon for him. And they used to have these sheep horn spoons instead of bowls, and said when he took a large spoonful of the boiled fish, he put his hands underneath it so that none of the food would drop on the floor in front of his host. And sometimes this story is used about how precious food is when you're invited like this. And that's where the story ends sometimes. But in this case, it goes on a little further. But when they were through dancing, it was time for him to perform in front of the people. A child sidled up to him in the crowd and he said, "They're going to kill you when you get outside the door. When you dance out the door, they're waiting for you out there already." And he thought about, I wonder why they want to kill me. So he finally decided, well, if they want to kill me, they're going to kill me with the earring they gave me. And so when he turned away from the people in his dancing, he put the earring on his ear. And when he turned around in his dance, you could hear a gasp in the crowd, they said, when they saw the abalone earring that was given by the North people to him. The people, the head people, immediately sent word out that he's not going to be killed. They're going to spare his life and let him go home. And so when he went out, they didn't kill him. He went out fully expecting his life was going to end when he went through the door. Instead, they followed him and they filled up his canoe with gifts again. He went home and he reported to his people when they had a welcome feast with him that he almost died, perhaps because of a misunderstanding. But the earring saved his life. There was a peg on the wall of the tribal house, where the earring hung in full view of the clan, because it became a tribal treasure. The most important thing they had, perhaps because it was a gift to the clan and not just to him. When he got through with his story, he said, this earring will hang higher than it used to hang previously. And they directed that another peg be made and driven into the wall so that the new peg was higher than the last place it was hanging, and the earring hung higher. And a decree came that when the earring goes to a potlatch, it will move higher again each time. And so in the clan house, you could see where the pigs were driven, and they were going higher and higher on the wall. And I suppose the story came out finally when somebody asked, why are those pigs on the wall and each one is higher than the other one? And they repeated the story about it saving the life of a very important person in their family. And to me, Sealaska is like that. It's like that story. We came to a very bad time in our short history, and we're raising the abalone shell to a higher level in 2003, and they gave a name to perhaps a girl in the clan who was very high, maybe a tribal leader's daughter. They gave her the name Kake. Kake means when you're raising something up higher and higher and higher. And that's probably the name we should put on the front page of our Sealaska someplace, Kake, because we've taken Sealaska and we're moving it back up. And each time we have a historical move in Sealaska's progress in the financial world, it's as if we're taking that abalone shell and moving it up on the wall of our history in this building. And that's the end of the story.
That's beautiful, Uncle. That's incredible.
I think in the rendition, you can turn that out. You can. All right.
You're all set.
Today is February 28th at Sealaska, and I'm Clarence Jackson. Please, na kisan yu to sakun. Hujaya dech dahin a kausinik yash kasnik chak. Dechi kade aya at hausiyech at kukedi hausiyech. Tsaagweidí yu a de gewoon kechande tuati na ki dachsin gitaya kosyaha ane dachkia tiada we Nass ayikte anach Kadak kawadai aya yuhina yu Nass yu do asak Kake nach Portland Canal aya Asau sitak. Akhande aya tuati. Wana ni sakshea Ushkanak at kawajil. Kajide ye akoksane at ako kwas tukhun ituin yawako wai kawayat sakshea ayikhe hasyanakwen yuqi tlen we an khande ana city aya kukat at tudach ke akawati guncha kukat aya tu kukha kawati anya kaka tu kawatin ke at kawashio at city na yan haso sit to khani ik au ata stakat to at khitak kau do ajis de a gutsut da khot da kheu tu chinetla tuin kau do a ik ya khu ik khu khaya khachi khu ke a kau sika ya tu Jilḳáat kos at kha tlesh khaji o te at khakshea ade ayaw sikho aya khaji da kawa jes wai kwad ay na ti sakshea ye khoyaw sikha kukhtek kulek khakukh Kawai yeyaw tu tsikha in ushkanach ke gachtu ta'at aqatsa kuneki yakukh chayakhawa we ant khini ushkanach utowa iktuin akatu ten yako ya kosna shade hanekia ya tukuk ati chatlak ayakhat au tliqen achaya akqotse khaya kan kakit awa khokh tu khaletak kakut tu khaletak kukuti aya akun khakukat akuk khakawati aqa aya sahuj aya khachi tatutte yan ashaw si hikyu ash kasnik kunek qakhu ash takadinakha tujit at kawdo jis hastu anitakha hastu Jilḳáat tatsu shaw tutli hiktu yakutu in nanda kuhutakhu aya chayakaya do anik to khun ke chikhukh ke kau sika jit kau do jesse at kos ni wuyat aqatsus au sitiniya kos khaq dat uan mi aya you chaye khaji to khon echit shu do ati aya khaya at kukwati tles awusko yu nasik takhtukhune akai ye keto to the tan Jilḳáat as de handen kakhucho ayachawa Daanaawú sit duin khodoa ik at khuk du katya du den tes qaawus ko taaknas tiksheya kuchte ta kukhuya akha aqaawa chaadius akausiti ayo hastokhande khukhu Kake Jilḳáat duin khodoa ik atutlekhe aya hu jaisak hu aya akqoslekh atutlekhe aya atkatsko duhan skauti ets we gandek kikuti ikachtu jaakyo shaw sekha tlatsu dunaqtliadewu kuduat katsko aya dayu tuwa tan kwasak shiya tles awus kuwa naksaya ay ada kud akwatlekhe aya Yitu ditan Jilḳáat huji aich naksati achunke hastu in Tsaagweidí sane hastu guncha gukat ach gugik qati yo ayatu dishat kone atlekaya katakatin akaus haya aya degukh akawati ya guncha yu ayach atlekh stakatwe ant khinitcho yawatin we khachit kaudo ati guncha khachko asewa tlakoa ganda kokaudo akha tisi Jilḳáat jadeen qathiyo tesho owa qaqtatu sna jayachawa kaskahil achtui atututlikhun tujidat kaudo ajel do anitawu khukh do anit sitaya mushkana khudo ataya khuna kausinik tukao aya akakata ko akut aya kuncha tukuk ke akati aya tukusti sutuji kokodoati ajaya yekoyo sikha we anachta ya khatich atani tesa nachi ya kwatich so ya guncha dikinach tu ya kakisako atani anachi kakaktuti aja chukut adesa Tlachwa Yod Kakoti Saya Ache Akatu Tichu Atchtu Shech Aitkaya Tsuti Nag Anache Adus Kuchu Atane Akachaya Wana Misa Akach Sakaya Tutua Titla King Ting Uaya Kozitiasa How Yayaka Uaya Jilḳáat Natutine Yachaya Tlachwa Asitsini Atsa Kake Koti Akachaya King Ting Ye Aya Hawuti Ya Hadane Adati Haya was Take Sealaska used to discourse Tlachnis Akakata Kutoat Ya Dechtak Dechya Koha Itataya Kikeu Tuati Hashate Hani Chikuneo do Asaku Tsaagweidí Hujaya Kunach Kake Awa Titsu Ajaya Achtuj Yangao Sinik Ashkasnik Achsisk Pochish Nakisan Yutsadoasak Hujaya Akao Sinik Yashkasnik Tsaagweidí Tles Tutlea Adatiuqato Tangat Dadakatu Tanj Tsaquda Dea Kandusnikch Tlachyaqutzike Oojaya Hasakat H Yushkasnik Tuq Wasaya Yawaka Akawa Tleeqoya Nakech Yahasqutzike Tsaagweidí Ye Qaututli at Tsaagweidí Ajaya Shkasnika at Kukedek Yusitik Ye Ayakawakeata. Long ago, according to my great-grandfather Johnny C. Jackson, there was a great man in our country who had friends, perhaps who stayed in Portland Canal when they came down the Nass River. And he wanted to go visit them one day. And so he decided to put together all kinds of gifts, perhaps food from our land that they didn't have on their land down in Canada. When he had gathered all these things, he loaded up his canoes, and maybe his nephews went down with him. They rode. In today's time, it's not a long ways, but in the time of canoes and oars, it must have took a very long time to row from our country to the Prince Rupert area. But when he got there, and he got close to the head of Portland Canal, it got very narrow. And when he knew he was close to the village, he put on an abalone, a large abalone earring, and perhaps it hung over his ear. But when he was singing as he was coming in, it shined in the sunlight, and it was noticed by all the people. And after he landed, the people came down and greeted him. They took his gifts up to the tribal house and brought his canoes up. How long he stayed there was probably dependent on the weather, but one day he decided it was time to go home, and he announced that he was going to start home the following day. And so they told him, "We will have a great party with you before you leave." And more than likely, knowing that he was going to leave, those people began to prepare gifts for him again in replacement of the gifts that he gave to them. And so at the party, they thanked him for coming. They thanked him for bringing them gifts. And then in the dance, they danced their happy dances and their farewell dance to him. When it came to his turn to respond, he noticed that one of the head people never stopped looking at his earring, his abalone earring. And so when he was going to dance, he called out this great man, and he gave him his earring. The next day, when he was going to leave, they filled up his boat with all kinds of gifts from their land. He came home and he distributed his gifts among his people that were given to him. Perhaps much time passed, and then an accident may have occurred. In any event, one day the great man decided to come to visit the people up north. And he loaded up his boat and came to the North Country. He was received just as they received their visitor in their country. He was entertained. After some time, he decided to leave. And in the party, a child came to him and said, "They're going to kill you when you go outside." And the child disappeared without any explanation. He didn't know what was the reason, and he didn't ask, but he thought about it greatly. and deeply, because it appeared there was no reason for them to kill him. He was at a precipice in his life, and he was looking down into the valley of the shadow of his death. In his mind, when he decided, well, what will be, will be. But I'm going to go down with their great gift they gave me. He reached in his pocket when it was time for him to do his dance, his exit dance, and he put on the earring where the people couldn't see him put it on. When he turned around, all the people recognized the earring. The head people immediately sent word out not to kill him. He left